The Cougars of Washington State University come to local high schools. The message they're sharing with students.
If something should happen, we know where that bus is.
See the high-tech way Vancouver Public Schools are keeping students safe on the road. Plus, Vancouver teachers get a surprise in the classroom, how their big ideas lead to these big checks. Hello and welcome to In the Know. I'm Chad Young. It's a big win for the Vancouver School Board as it's named the 2010 Board of the Year. The honor was bestowed by the Washington State School Directors Association. First, the district made the top 15 and was a board of distinction. It was also honored in that way in 2009. From those final 15, Vancouver Public Schools was named the top school board in the state. Schools across Vancouver honor our nation's veterans with special ceremonies. This one, at Chinook Elementary, drew dozens of service members, each of whom had the opportunity to address the children and their families. The message from the veterans to the children was clear. Be thankful for your freedoms, be grateful to service members who protect them, and be mindful of how each of us can change the world for the better. There were also presentations from students who thanked the veterans for their service. Many high school students are looking ahead to college, and since they haven't gotten there just yet, college came to them. The Gear Up program teamed up with Washington State University to present Imagine You at WSU at Fort Vancouver High School. Professors gave lectures just like they would to their own classes. Topics included law enforcement, 3D animation, nursing, computer science, engineering, and even the science of food. There were even presentations on what students should expect once they transition to campus living. Organizers hope events like this will open students' eyes to new possibilities.
What do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to be? Now that you're in high school, what do you want to do after high school? Well, I'd never thought about it after high school because right now, it's just, that's right there, you're living in the moment. So I think we really need to encourage them to try and think farther in their education.
Even if your grades are to 4.0 and maybe your family doesn't have $1 million, you can still go to college.
After a successful day at Fort, they turned around and did it all again the next day at Hudson's Bay High School. Getting into college can be somewhat daunting, but it is achievable if you know what to do. So we went to an expert to break it all down.
The college admissions process, it can be a little complicated.
George Gerianos counsels seniors at Columbia River High School. His job is to get as many students as possible into college, but ultimately it's up to the students and parents. There are 5 things you have to know. The first step: take care of business in the classroom by fulfilling the state-mandated college admission requirements and by taking a challenging course load. And
essentially you want to send the message. I'm not coasting through my senior year and slacking off, that I'm actually I'm applying myself and I'm working hard because I want to be able to be successful at that college level.
Step 2, take the SAT or ACT. You can take either test during your senior year, but George recommends doing it earlier.
If you take it at the end of your junior year, you've gone as far through that school year with as much information, packed into your head to be most successful on that exam.
The ACT is more commonly preferred on the East Coast, but Western colleges generally like the SAT. And that brings us to step 3, where to apply for college. George recommends breaking schools down into 3 categories: reach schools, possible schools, and safety schools. The application process is different at every college, so it's important to be aware of the differences. You can also use the common application, which is available online.
It kind of streamlines the process. So if a student was wanting to apply to 4, 5, 6 different schools, they don't have to fill out 4, 5, 6 separate applications. They could just go to this common application, do it the one time, and then it would be submitted on their behalf.
Once you've identified which colleges you're applying for, you need to figure out the big question for parents: how do you pay for it all? Whether it's through student loans, grants, or work study, everything starts with the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. You can apply online at fafsa.ed.gov.
Be careful of sites like FAFSA.com and FAFSA.org. Those are, I mean, fine sites, I suppose, but they'll look to charge you, $60, $80, $100 to help you fill out your free application for federal student aid. So it shouldn't cost you anything.
The fifth thing to remember, and this applies throughout the entire process, is to be organized.
Be aware of deadlines. Those come up quicker than you might realize, and the calendar moves fast.
And remember, when in doubt, ask for help. Every high school has someone on staff who can answer your questions. George had a lot of great advice, so much in fact that we posted the entire interview on our YouTube site. That's youtube.com/VanSDTV. Many of us have GPS devices in our cars to figure out where we're headed, but for Vancouver school buses, it's to make sure the district can tell where they've been. And as Helen Raptis reports, that's not the only high-tech way the district is keeping kids safe.
Parents are always concerned about their student safety, and that's paramount to us as well.
With that in mind, the Vancouver School District has installed GPS units in all of its school buses. The handheld device starts its work before the driver even leaves the bus barn, helping the driver complete the mandatory safety check. Once the bus is on the road, the unit tracks the bus's route.
And then you come out and you follow the path with the arrows on the red line.
It also shows when the driver puts out the stop paddle, flashes the lights, or pushes down on the brakes. Keeping tabs on the bus gives dispatchers and, more importantly, parents peace of mind.
Parents are always wanting to know where their children are. And so this helps because we can say, well, my gosh, here's the bus, this is where they are.
If they need to know at what time their student got off the bus at the last stop, and if they can give us the address, we can go right on and we can bring that up within seconds and say, okay, the bus was at your stop at this time.
That kind of accuracy also helps settle who's to blame when a student misses the bus.
A lot of times the parents will call and say, well, the bus didn't come in my neighborhood, and I can pull this up again and say, yes, it did come that neighborhood. And maybe it didn't. If it didn't, I will definitely say that as well.
Before we had nothing to fall back on to prove anything. We can prove a lot of things now that they had to just argue about before.
Transportation supervisors have another tool to improve student safety and settle any questions about what happened. Each bus is equipped with at least one security camera, which is a big help for drivers.
We do have a big mirror that we see all the students with, but at the same time we have to have our eyes on the road to drive safely.
And a lot of times the driver will see the second thing that happens, not the first thing, and then of course they'll maybe react to that, but then we'll pull the video and we'll say, oh, did you realize that this is what happened as well?
And quite often you write a referral and it would come back, well, he said he didn't do it, or the parent said, no, there's no way that happened. And you can go to the video and you can say, it did happen.
The cameras make sure students are behaving correctly on the bus, just like the GPS units. They're making sure drivers are doing the right thing behind the wheel.
We know they're at the correct places at the correct times, and that just helps everyone.
For In the Know, I'm Helen Raptis.
Our recent winter weather reminds us that it's also cold and flu season. We checked in with Valerie Hunt, a school nurse at Roosevelt Elementary. She showed us how they teach children to cough into their elbows instead of their hands to prevent the spread of cold germs. And just in case, there are wash stations throughout most schools to give children a chance to clean up.
And the nice thing about having a community wash station outside of the bathroom also is a little bit of peer pressure, so that, as they come out of the bathroom and someone else sees them, if they forgot to wash, then they'll see someone else washing and they'll wash their hands. So it's very important.
Nurse Hunt tells us it's a pretty average year for colds and flus. But if your children do get sick, remember to keep them home for 24 hours after their fever breaks so that they don't bring the virus back to the classroom. In our focus on technology, we're taking a look at how teachers are leaving the traditional chalkboard behind. A pilot program is putting a tablet device in classrooms that gets teachers out of the lecture mode and puts students in the driver's seat for their own learning. Orion Ludlow has more from Eisenhower Elementary.
The engagement is just fully there.
Fourth grade teacher Martin Campos can't hide his enthusiasm for a new pilot program that puts tablet devices in his classroom. They're called Mobies, and they're changing the way many Vancouver teachers present information. Instead of having students come forward to write on the blackboard, teachers have them use the Mobi pads to write on an overhead projector display. As many as 6 Mobies can work simultaneously.
We can all do something at the same time. It works out good because we can just stay at our desks.
In this lesson, Mr. Campos has the children working on their daily calendar, divvying up math tasks to groups of students.
They each have a role, they're each engaged, and the Moby just allows them to interact together between the groups, showing their work.
64.
What used to take 45 minutes now takes just 20. More importantly, students don't have to wait for someone else to finish. They're busy the entire time, working together to find the answers.
Because they're sharing the Moby, one person gets to put their answer using the Moby, then it passes on to the next person who then can add on to that person's response. All the while kind of either they're self-correcting or helping each other out or collaboratively coming.
If you don't know a question to something, but you raise your hand and you only know half of it, the other classmate in your group can help you figure out that question.
Even when they start talking, and it sounds like they're not on board, the talking is always about the elements of whatever it is that we're doing using the Mobies.
That excitement among the students means they're truly involved with the lesson.
Our kids are digital natives, and they learn best through technology, and so to be able to hand them a tablet and allow them to interact with the technology as they're learning is a really positive experience for them.
It's actually a lot easier, I think, than before. Than just worksheets. It's more fun.
For In the Know, I'm Orion Ludlow.
Students in Vancouver schools work to help out other students. The annual chess drive brings in coins from local families, which are donated to the Vancouver School District Foundation. These fifth graders at Lakeshore Elementary count up the donations from their fellow classmates. They know that all these coins are going to a good cause.
I just like doing it to help kids in our community about just like helping them what they need and what they like, and I just like helping them.
The Vancouver School District Foundation has a number of programs to help families in need, among them the Emergency Checkbook, which lets principals quickly meet the needs of students. The foundation also provides medical, dental, vision, audiology, and mental health care. The chess drive is a district-wide event and happens every fall. The Vancouver School District Foundation also awards grants to staff members for creative ideas to help kids, and they surprised this year's recipient with oversized checks, Ed McMahon style. The money pays for programs to engage students in their learning. Oftentimes, these programs would otherwise go unfunded. Kathleen Callahan is a speech and language pathologist. Her program teaches children with learning disabilities to create pictures in their heads that correspond with their reading so that they can better understand the material. We asked her what went through her head when she saw that check.
I was super excited. Yeah, I'm pumped to get this and to get the curriculum and hopefully get it in time to get started in January with the kids. So
it took 3 frenzied days to hand out the oversized checks, about 65 in all. They totaled more than $80,000. Math and science can sometimes be difficult and abstract subjects for students to grasp, but a teacher at Skyview High School is getting their attention and making the lesson fun at the same time. Nick Vole has the story.
The game of Battleship has been around for decades, and chances are you've probably spent some time playing it. But I'll bet you've never played a game of Battleship like this. Teacher Nate Macon was supposed to have his physics and engineering students build a machine to shoot a ping pong ball, but he had a better idea. Why Battleship?
Why not? Sounds like fun, doesn't it?
His students think so. They set up a giant battleship area in the commons, using tables as a divider. Then, using devices they built themselves, they shoot marbles at their opponent's ships. But it's not just fun and games. Using formulas Mr. Macon gives them, it's up to the students to figure out how to hit their targets.
Okay, that was a hit, but it wasn't what you were aiming for.
We shot it up a bunch of times and got our velocity, and then we put that in a formula, and you get the distance out of it pretty much.
That trial and error method forces students to think for themselves.
I don't want to tell you what to do. You make your own decisions and then see if they work. And it's a real good way of learning by failure. You know, if you don't fail, you don't learn.
The teams that plan and problem solve the best are the most accurate.
It's right here. You can say, I know my machine will operate the same way over and over and over again, and I know if something goes wrong, I know what will go wrong, and I know how to fix it.
When the game is over, students have more than just a marble shooter and a good time to show for it.
Well, it lets us get like real hands-on experience with how we can apply the stuff we learned in math class to real-world stuff, knowing that the math actually works somewhere other than just on paper.
We're competing with iPods and television and, you know, anything you can think of with buttons, you know, like video games. You find that you get their involvement when they're entertained. And if you can gain entertainment through the curriculum, take advantage.
For In the Know, I'm Nick Vole.
Well, that just about does it for us. Thanks for watching In the Know. I'm Chad Young.